Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
All right, guys, so what I'm going to talk about today is everyone's living room is in need of a reboot. And I want to do a quick poll here. Yesterday we talked about people that consume media, obviously, on your computer. So let's everybody stick their hands up. I'm going to do an analog poll. I know we're in a digital world, but we need to go back old school. So if you consume media on your computer, raise your hand. All right, that's good. We're 90. No, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. This is calisthenics. It's a little exercise here. So if you have a high-definition TV, a flat-panel TV, DLP, I don't care the technology, plasma, whatever, keep your hand up. If not, put your hand down. Okay, so about half of us here have big-screen TVs. Now, those of you who have cable, keep your hands up, or satellite, or some kind of method for delivering content to the living room. If you don't, if you only connect your computer to your laptop, put your hand down. So there's still some people that have cable and satellite. Well, this whole idea, okay, you put your hands down now. So the idea with Boxy is you can put your hand down. Good. No, that's okay. No, Karen, that's good. I'll just do this with you for a little while. I don't want you to be the only one.
I was just going to ask you if we could play a song.
Okay. Oh, no. See, the Dave Mathews jokes do not work in this state. Greg tried one last night, epic fail. So what we're trying to do with Boxy is create an open source and social platform for your television. And if you think about what Comcast, Time Warner, all the companies, DirecTV, Dish Network, et cetera, have been doing, is keeping a lockdown on the box in your living room. And TiVo has tried to open this up, but really their way of open is one pipe in the living room, which is your cable or satellite, if in the case of DirecTV, TiVo, and then one pipe out, which is your television. And they've tried adjunct software to try and get data in and out of the TiVo, but it really didn't work so well. So we're saying the industry needs to turn itself on its head, and it's just not working the way it should for our generation, the two-way communication street. Because the net is social. Think about Tumblr, Twitter, friend feed. You have all these sources of content behind me here. And they're all either aggregating each other, in the case of like friend feed, being able to pull from other sources, or inspiring a community like YouTube or MySpace Video, Last.fm, et cetera. So when you have all this social stuff going on your computer, why isn't that happening on your television as well? One of the big problems is the 10-foot user interface. Your computer is a 2-foot UI, your mobile phone's a 1-foot or 6-inch UI, and your television's 10 feet away from you. So trying to do interactivity on a television is typically a very difficult thing to accomplish. And Apple's tried it with Apple TV, Microsoft's tried it with Media Center, with the Xbox 360. We have all these different user interfaces for this 10-foot space. But we think we've done a pretty clever job about tying all these services together with our 10-foot UI. So we've created a download, a free software package that runs on modern hardware, and it allows you to openly tie into the same social networks that you'd use in a 2-foot user experience, but we've done it in a 10-foot UI with something as simple as this little remote control that came free with most all of your computers. I'm looking at you guys in the audience here, and I see Apple logos everywhere, which is exciting for our free software. So the origin of this software came from open source roots. The original Xbox, which came out in 2001, had a very weak encryption in it, and that encryption was cracked by this one guy, Bunny, who figured out the code to intercept data and run rogue software on the Xbox. So think about this. Microsoft spends all this money developing a closed platform, and they only used one key to lock that platform down. So once that key was compromised, anyone could run software on it. So a group of developers created this software called XBMC, Xbox Media Center, which turned that 733 megahertz computer, which looked okay in your living room, into a all-purpose, all-format media player. It'd play like 20 different codecs, things like DivX and MP3 and different kind of containers. It would even play DVDs, but optical media, it's so gauche these days because of Ethernet piped video. So these developers from all over the world created that project. They'd never met each other. There was 25, 30 core developers of Team XBMC, and they never met. So what's a guy with a team of developers trying to create software who wants to leverage that community do? Well, we get everybody together. the guys from Boxy got the guys from Team XBMC together, and because it's a world, I guess, developed all over the world, we had guys from New Zealand, guys from California, of course, guys from Stockholm, etc. Where is the playground of the world? Well, it's Amsterdam. So, let me just tell you, to hold a developer conference in Amsterdam is a bit of an oxymoron. There wasn't a lot of development going on there. It was a little difficult, but we got the whole gang together anyway. This was day 2 of the conference, and you can see a lot of people are still smiling and somewhat sober, but it was a great thing to do for the community because they'd only communicated in instant messages, forums, IRC, etc. So as we were at this conference, we started talking about how the original platform, the Xbox, a little long in the tooth, right? That console hasn't been made in a handful of years now, and now you've got all this great modern hardware. You've got the Mac Mini, which a handful of you probably have one of these in your living room because it has what I call a high WAF. You guys know WAF, W-A-F? Exactly, the guys up front, they won the prize of nothing. Wife acceptance factor. So you first, it has to look pretty, and then once it looks pretty, is it easy to use? And if so, then you've got a hot product. So you've got the Mac Mini, you've got the MacBooks, which are glowing here in this conference hall tonight. And then Ubuntu is really coming on strong as an operating system that's completely open, runs on low-cost hardware. So we've developed Boxy to run on any one of these platforms as a more modern hardware base. So, all right, enough of the slides. I'm going to get into the demo. And I'm going to go to the homepage of Boxy. And by the way, I was doing that whole pitch within Boxy, which is nice. So it's obviously a slideshow viewer. So what we have done is created a whole new paradigm for the homepage of television. Think about what your DVR does. The front page of the DVR is the first recorded show in time order going down. So what we've said is the time a show comes in is not really important. What's more important is what my friends recommend to me. So I can see Avner, the CEO of Boxy, recommended myself and 2 other of my friends recommended that with Avner actually to check out that. Another friend recommended a TED conference, right? Have you guys watched the TED stuff online? I think that's one of the coolest. Yeah. So TED, awesome show. Probably none of us, well, maybe a few of you really cool people will be able to get invited to it, but I will never be invited to TED. But I can check out the streams online here. So let's take a look at that. So this is Michael Moshin. All right, that's interesting. Juggling something. So now from a friend activity, I've got on my homepage here a direct link to something that would be buried in an RSS feed somewhere or somewhere hidden on a YouTube link, etc. So now I get full access to the stream. And I can, let's see, I jumped out of it. Sorry about that. Let me get back into it here. Once I'm watching it, then I can say, geez, my brother would like this, or my friend such and such would like this. So I have access to my social network. I can also read rich metadata. We're doing some cool stuff with OpenGL and different shading. So you can see the TED video is still going on in the background, but I can see the information about it here. And I can say I love it, and I'm just going to hit that rating out there. You guys that are obviously on Twitter here, go to twitter.com/gadgetboxee, B-O-X-E-E. We actually found the E that Flickr lost and added it to our name, which is really fun. The idea with the name behind Boxy, by the way, this is a question I get all the time. It's a new set-top box, new paradigm. So Boxy is kind of the cute, nicer set-top box. Also, I can recommend it. So I'm going to say to a handful of my friends here, and it's pulling in the images in the background. I'm not cached here. This is all live in our alpha. I can sit and send out a recommendation. So those people that I just tagged with my remote from the couch now can see the same TED video that I was watching here. And then I can jump back into the programming again. So the idea is, the net is a interconnected series of tubes, and we want to be able to give access to that from 10 feet away. So just as I have recommendations that are implicit, someone saying, Dave, you will like this, there's also friend activity. So the friend activity, I can just take a look at a feed just like you would on Twitter, but this feed's very visual, right? Think about it. All the media centers heretofore have had a way to view folder names and files, and that's a very boring way to look at media. Media needs to be experienced in a rich UI. So we show actual cover art, that kind of stuff. Recently added, this is a pretty clever innovation as well. Think about on your local area network at your house. You probably have a handful of computers, maybe a NAS box, some kind of storage appliance. So software that monitors these appliances throughout your house, and actually, when it sees a new file name, will go out automatically in the background, grab images, cover art, lyrics, different items that would make that experience more visceral than just a file name on there. And then finally, TiVo works with the 30-minute pause, right? That's one of the main reasons why people wanted to go with the TiVo. So being able to sit and pause live TV is great, but with 30 minutes, it's a little bit limited. So the idea of being able to jump back in instantly to something that you were checking out earlier, like I was looking at this USC lab about content, and being able to jump back into that at a whim, right? It shows up automatically. So the experience with video, is a no-brainer with trying to get YouTube in the living room. It's a big holy grail item that a lot of people are trying to figure out how to get. Music, similar way. How do you view your cover art of your music? And then some of the extra meta plays as you're listening to music. Check this out. How many times do you have an album that you haven't listened to in forever, and you want to go back and check out, like, what was the review on it? What did the smart people about music say to it? So you can jump right into some information about the artist, or say I love Feist, but I don't want to listen to this album that I've listened to 100 times. So you can jump to a Last.fm stream, and then using your Last.fm credentials, it knows your Last.fm channel. So if you say, I love it, I hate it, all that data gets pushed up to Last.fm as well. So the whole idea of being open and connecting to third-party services is also being able to push and pull back into those third-party services as well. And because our software is completely open source, I'm throwing the challenge out to you guys. What would you create to this, right? How would you be able to take the feeds of what you're working on and the software you're developing and create plugins for this platform for the living room? Let me jump back into Photos here. Photos and Last.fm are my favorite things to consume in my living room. So I've got local pictures. Those get kind of boring. But I can go to Flickr pictures here, which is really exciting. And my favorite photographer of these events is Brian Solis. Is Brian here right now? I saw him yesterday. He's probably still hungover. So, not that he would get drunk last night. So I'm going to jump in and find Kevin's. There's Jeremy Toman. You're going to hear from him a little bit later. There's Brian. Oh, I swear I did not try this, or I did not want that. The thumbnail Brian was me, so that was not a setup. Okay, so I've got music stream going on in the background, and then I can do a little. No, that's okay. Yeah, there's music playing. Just imagine that. Put it in your head at how wonderful this sounds in your living room. So you can jump in. Oh, there's let's see. Let me hit. And we're actually doing this stuff all live off of the internet. So as you guys are consuming bandwidth, we're all suffering from it here. All right. So Robert, we found a picture of you here on something last night. So this you can see Apple's tried this with some plugins, but you're always going to have an initiative of a company who's trying to push what I call with Apple, their iVillage, their iWorld. And we're saying all of this content exists on the net. We develop XML, Python scripts, open source, so anything can be added to this. And if you think about the season pass for TiVo lived in your living room, right? When you would subscribe to a season pass of Friends or Seinfeld, you couldn't transport that. So the ultimate goal for this is to be able to you guys create season passes. And maybe it's political coverage, maybe it's gadget coverage, whatever your passions are. And you can take that XML feed and share it amongst your network of friends. So they can have your channels of content, or they can follow your blogs, et cetera. And right now there's an all-purpose RSS reader for video, for audio. And obviously what gets the mass market excited about something like this is having the Hulus of the world, the CBS. That's definitely on our roadmap. But for now, this long tail of video, this being able to jump into RSS feeds, and this is a movie trailer feed here. Let me jump into RSS, video downloads, etc. So we think we've created this unique approach for the living room, and the time is right? I'm tired of the Comcast box with the ad on the bottom of my EPG, right? Isn't that lovely? All right. So you guys have any questions? I see a couple of them back there. We'll give you a second to get mics in there. I'm going to show you one more thing while we're getting mics there. I had to do the jobs, one more thing. I have a Nokia N95. And the N95 is a great camera, kind of clunky for a phone, but having all this content on my phone is great. But when I want to watch it on the TV, that gets a little bit difficult. So I'm going to jump into network, and hopefully it's going to show up here. This N95 has Wi-Fi built into it. So I'm jumping on the same Wi-Fi network as my, I'm assuming this is a house here. That's why it took a little bit to set up. I have my own little Wi-Fi network here, so the devices show up. So essentially the gist of what I'm connected, okay. This uses a technology called UPnP. UPnP is a great idea in theory. Execution, however, is, that's another thing. So browse home, phone visible. All right, let me jump into network again. So what I'm doing is having Boxy take a look at all the devices on my LAN and automatically pull them and pull the content from it. So this works just as it would a NAS box in the house, like a terabyte server full of your media, or a mobile phone. And while we're looking for questions, if Nokia pops up here, then someone yell at me, because then that means the UPnP plug and pray is working. All right, did we get a mic? We got a mic.
All right, so for the record, I'd like the first alpha invite, Brian at infinitelymeta.com. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, right here.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
I want the second invite, and then...
all right. I was going to save this for later, but if I keep you these questions, go to boxee.tv/gnomedex, and you can sign up. That's going to bring you guys to the top of the alpha list. You won't have to wait a week.
Nice.
So
I had a few questions about the product. I'll just throw them all at you, and then you can just answer them all. Does it support multiple users? So can I go and rate things and then have someone else log into their profile and rate things? How does it compare to Plex, which is the other XBMC project that came out of that original product? Does it support cable card and themes and skins and things like that?
okay, so we work with Team XBMC, and Plex has done what's called a fork. So the idea with Boxy is just how Firefox works with Mozilla, Boxy works with Team XBMC. So we're very much in line there. Cable card's a great question. There's a new technology called True Two-Way as well. We think that Ethernet delivered video is going to be number one, sites like Hulu, CBS, NBC. So we're really going after Ethernet video. However, there's a project called Myth TV, and Myth TV is really going after the True Two-Way and the sort of QAM or digital tuning on set-top boxes. We will have plugins with that as well. And that was the last, was that the last question? Oh, themes, yeah. So because we're open source, you can run many of the XBMC themes. And what he says by themes is, we spent a lot of effort on our UI and made it very fluid and very motion. But themes can be run on this as well, no problem.
Hello, over here.
Okay.
I use XBMC pretty much on a daily basis at home.
Cool.
My wife loves it, but the problem was I had to get it set up for her to love it. I have to go through the process of naming all the files so that they'll show up right in the library mode. I have to edit the XML files. I just set up the network, tons of configuration. Have you done anything to simplify that process? Because I see that as the biggest barrier to entry for a system like this.
Right. Metadata for media collections is the biggest pain in the ass there is. So Boxy has some heuristics to it. So it looks at file names, and it's identified based upon this file name, clerks, and it's pulled the metadata around it. And once I jump into the media file, I can jump in and do more. And Boxy's done all this stuff automatically. So part of the magic behind the software running on the appliance is the database that it builds locally. And by the way, don't you hate when utilities trash the metadata on maybe albums or compilations or soundtracks? So that never happens because the database, everything you see here, sits on the appliance. It doesn't trash the metadata that could be on a NAS. And then the question about multiple users, I remember you had another one. Everybody gets a login for Boxy. So nothing would be more embarrassing than having my brother come over to my house and him watch Goonies or some terrible movie on my Boxy, and that's getting pinged and tweeted and friended out to my whole network. So my brother would have his own login. Everybody has their own login, so any effort that you make consuming media happens on to your feed, your friends, etc.
Okay, just two really quick points. First, I use Ubuntu all the time, and it's amazing to see something that looks so beautiful and is in alpha and is only supported in Linux and Mac and
Isn't that great?
Windows. Spectacular. And the second thing is, that being said, even though it's open source, I would buy it from you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
So I've got the classic blogger question, but in terms, so I'm not asking this as a blogger, I'm asking this as a fan who wants to see it around for a while. How are you guys going to monetize it?
Okay, great question. So the monetization is very similar to Firefox, what they do. Firefox connects the dots with search, so they get a little affiliate-style fee from Google, essentially. We're going to do the same thing. If you browse the media, which is this left view here, browsing video means you're going in through an RSS path, just as you would within iTunes. We don't want any money there. But if Boxy connects the dots between two people, maybe via a recommendation or via a friend activity link, and it's a Hulu stream that you watch a commercial with, or maybe it's a Netflix download, or maybe it's an Amazon unbox or video, whatever they're calling it this week, we would get 10 cents, 5 cents, whatever, for that transaction. So in some cases, as a viewer, you would not pay for content if you're watching an ad. In other cases, if you download an album, Boxy might make a nickel or 2 cents of it. So that's the monetization strategy.
So is that part of the licensing structure that you've established?
Yeah, so Boxy does not license content. That's another failed premise. If you think about MovieBeam, rest in peace, Akimbo, Vudu, which I think Vudu might be saved because they've just announced that they're going to have porn on that platform. So all of these platforms are licensing content from providers. Because of our open source nature, we just want to be a window to that content. So if you look at my internet stream link that we put into the system now, it's very much, anyone who's created an API, we tie into that right now. So revision 3, they give an XML feed. Watch up at the top, you're going to see an XML message loading, maybe above, we masked it, but we're all about XML. So if you create content, if you want to put your blog on our video channel, we can take that XML feed and push it on there. So it's all about parsing that XML and giving it in this 10-foot UI. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for your time. So, any games, I want to see this platform rock. So create away. Thanks,
Thank you,
Chris.
Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Apparently, but there was a question in chat. Are you going to ask if you can get Chris Pirillo live on Boxy?
So definitely Ustream is, I'm talking with them. I want Ustream channels on here.
All right.
No doubt, no doubt.
All right, what was the question, Kat, as he's... Wait. Try it.
Okay, the people in chat were just wondering, we have a couple of budding developers who have been following what you were saying quite a bit with interest. They're wondering if there's going to be a development package available or anybody in particular that they can contact with some ideas that they've already been tossing around to make your service even better.
So let's see, we've got a very vibrant community at forums.boxee.tv. And also, since we work with the XBMC crew, they have a huge forum that's been going on for years before ours. So the source code's available for download at Boxy, and both of those communities have discussions around that kind of development. So that's the best place to check out. Forums at XBMC or forums at boxee.tv.